And so you, the legislature, without judicial oversight, can direct and take back that power. You have the opportunity as the legislature, because we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. We, the people, need to submit.
Thank you. And as Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Guess what? Guess what? The truth's out there. Media, you should have found these witnesses. You need to do your job. Now you see them out here. Do your job.
All the analysis that we've done doesn't really require you to say, trust me about a magical mathematical formula or some pattern we discovered or something that supposedly happened in the software of the voting machines.
You're essential to this republic, and without you doing your job, instead of being partisan hacks, this republic can't stand. So now you got some information, you got some witnesses with courage. These people are heroes to me as a retired Army colonel. I look at them and I say, you guys are outstanding. Thanks for being willing to step up.
So this isn't speculative. This is just what the data shows.
Hey everybody, it's Everett with Ohio for Freedom. Are you tired of living in a parallel universe? Well, today is your day of deliverance, because today we move from hope so to no so. And we're going to conclude with 10 predictions for President Trump's second term that will begin January 20th, 2021. So let's get started.
I hear the sweet sound of freedom, and I won't be long.
In this episode, we're going to compare media fantasy with reality. And I've got good news for you. The blinders are going to come off. The shackles are going to be undone. But to set the mood, set the tone, I want to play this clip of the president last night on Thanksgiving doing a well-deserved smackdown to this reporter who was so disrespectful. This will put you in a good mood. Let's take a look.
So, no, I can't say that at all. I think it's a possibility. They're trying to look between you people. Don't talk to me that way. You're just a lightweight. Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way. Fine, I'm going to go with another question. Go ahead.
Bravo, Mr. President. Thank you for standing up to these MSM creeps. This has just been off the charts from day one. You know, I'm sure you've had this conversation with your associates and with your loved ones. My wife and I have had this conversation many times. As much as I vociferously disagree with virtually every policy, every decision of Barack Obama, we never spoke disrespectfully about the President of the United States. And these creepy media types, they'll ask Joe Biden what flavor of ice cream he chose that day. So, Mr. President, you are right to stand up, and we appreciate it, and more power to you. So, folks, now we're going to compare a little bit of reality versus fantasy. Reality versus mainstream media fantasy. And we are going to break some shackles, and we're going to come into a place, we're going to break out of this parallel universe. And I want to start in the wonderful state of Pennsylvania. I have been all over that great state. I love the state of Pennsylvania, and I was never more proud of my Pennsylvania, well, they are they're smart there in Pennsylvania. Never been more proud of the Pennsylvania Patriots than on Wednesday. But we're going to revisit something that Jenna Ellis said, because this is reality.
And I would direct your attention to Article 2, Section 1.2, which says that each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors. And so you, the legislature, without judicial oversight, can direct and take back that power.
That is reality. In those proceedings that took place over about a 3.5-hour period, when you go through and I hope that you have watched this, I hope that you have shared this, because there is not a dull moment. It is packed moment by moment with evidence of massive, massive voter fraud, and that is reality. And what Jenna Ellis is saying is absolute reality. The Pennsylvania state legislature has the authority, they have the right, the privilege, and the power to make sure that Pennsylvania goes the way that people actually voted. And I got news for the East Coast, West Coast, snarky, arrogant types. Pennsylvania people are tough. I love the state of Pennsylvania. I've been all over that state. I've been to Clarion, Oil City, those areas in the west, up there by Wilkes-Barre in the northeast. I've been in the Juniata Valley. I have deer hunted in Pennsylvania, and the only reason I say that is because the loyal patriots of Pennsylvania are not going to have this election stolen, and that is reality. Pennsylvania is Trump land. Pennsylvania is sending electoral votes to the Electoral College for President Donald John Trump. Now, that's reality. Let's look at just a touch of fantasy, and this is courtesy of the great folks at the Communist News Network. Stellar, earth-shattering news coverage from the Communist News Network. Trump invites Pennsylvania GOP lawmakers to White House after calling into baseless voter fraud event. And then I love what they tell us about Rudy Giuliani, because it gets worse, folks. Giuliani attended Wendy's, quote, hearing, unquote, in Pennsylvania, arriving at the event with a mask before briefly taking it off when he sat down. Most other people in the room were not wearing masks. Folks, if you are the slightest bit demoralized by these people, stop it. Stop it. They are a joke. They are an embarrassment. They are not the media. I've never studied, the art of propaganda, like what the Marxist guys study when they go to propaganda school. But come on, you can see this. So the way that they're covering this is it's baseless. Well, you know something? If somebody's alleging something and it's based on things that aren't true, you at least investigate and find out what is or is not true. They're pretending it doesn't exist. Again, it was 3.5 hours, just minute after minute of just information. Communist News Network doesn't even touch that. So they go on to this narrative about Giuliani not wearing a... Does anybody care if Giuliani was wearing a mask or not? And, oh my God, there were people inside and they weren't wearing masks. But one thing you can glean from that article that's pretty cool is the president invited those lawmakers to the White House. And you can write it down. Those lawmakers, I already said it, but I'm repeating myself plus saying the same thing twice and being redundant. They are not going to let that election be stolen. And I'll tell you what, other members of the big tech and media are scared. Rip Van Dorsey is one of them because he suspended Doug Mastriano. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's the retired colonel that was the leader of this event. He's an American patriot, strong guy, Christian guy. And Rip Van Dorsey is so scared of him that he suspended his Twitter account. Let's take a look. Evidently, Rip Van Dorsey is not going to take this lying down. This is from Newsweek. Trump rails against Twitter for suspending Republican State Senator Doug Mastriano's account. And we'll read what the president tweeted. Wow! Twitter bans highly respected Pennsylvania State Senator Doug Mastriano after he did a great job of leading a hearing on the 2020 election fraud. They and the fake news working together want to silence the truth. Can't let that happen. This is what communist countries do. The president is absolutely right. It is what communist countries do, but Rip Van Dorsey is a communist. He's a sellout. He's an embarrassment. But guess what? He's also not successful. He is not able to put a lid on the truth. The truth in Pennsylvania is out that state. So reality is, folks, here's reality. Pennsylvania is Trump. That's reality. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm going to try to pick up the pace here. Speaking of Rip Van Dorsey and Twitter, they are so scared of what Sidney Powell has done that Rip Van Dorsey has blocked anybody tweeting a link to the Georgia lawsuit and the Michigan lawsuit. I'm not making this up. Take a look. Wow, Rip Van Dorsey is a real coward. This was easy to show. Okay, if you're looking right here, okay, I'm not even click the story. Twitter has reversed its censorship to a link to Powell's lawsuit that seeks to change the outcome of the election. Okay, so let's read it. Twitter blocks potentially harmful links to explosive lawsuits. I guess that since I've started recording this video, Rip Van Dorsey got scared and has changed tune on that. That's because he's afraid of the Patriots, ladies and gentlemen. I played earlier the clip of the president's smackdown of that snarky reporter. I actually saw that, please forgive me, on Fox News. I guess my television is in the habit of being on there. That was playing in the background. But I'm glad that it was, because I didn't know he was going to do that press conference. But one thing that I noticed on fake Fox News last night is there was no mention of the Georgia lawsuit or the Michigan lawsuit. And there certainly was no reporting on the allegations that Sidney Powell is very credibly making. Folks, I'm trying to talk about what is reality, because you're not going to get reality from the mainstream media. You're not going to get it from 50%, well, all of the large tech media, but the independent sources are spreading the truth. That's why I've encouraged you to share the links on the Georgia lawsuit, the Michigan lawsuit, share the link on the YouTube of the proceedings that took place there in Pennsylvania. They can't keep a lid on it. I do want to show you a little bit about this Georgia lawsuit just to give you an idea of the sheer volume of information. I just want to show you this Georgia lawsuit. I'm just scrolling. I know this is, but I wanted you to get at least a visual. I could stop anywhere, and there is dynamite evidence, and I just chose this one. This is on page 32. I love this. Evidence of fraud, a pattern of showing the absence of mistake. The Epoch Times, however you pronounce that, they did a great story on the Georgia lawsuit, and there's 30 different kind of things that Sidney Powell outlined in that lawsuit, and there are literally hundreds of affiants, people that have signed affidavits. That was a new word for me. I didn't know the word affiant before. I'm always learning, always picking up new things, and it's exciting. But again, I'm going to just say this about Georgia and reality. There is so much information, and it can't be hidden. Georgia is going Trump, period. Will it be because of the state legislature? Will it be because of a district court going all the way to the Supreme Court? I don't know. Maybe they will actually count the ballots and verify signatures, and that would take care of it. I don't know, but I want to say this. I have never doubted, and I'm not bragging, I have never doubted that Donald Trump was going to be sworn in for his second consecutive term. Never doubted that. But because we're flawed humans, it is reassuring when you have a knowing go from in here to up here, or to where both of these agree. And folks, that is where we are. The evidence is out there. I know a couple of weeks ago I was saying that we needed to pray for, I made a joke of it, for a spirit of investigation and discovery, and not talking about the cable channel. But folks, that has taken place. The investigation has happened and the discovery has happened. It's continuing to go on, but there is more than enough evidence to prove the case. And this matter of election fraud, they are not going to get away with it. Let's take a real quick look at the state of Michigan, and then I have 10 predictions for the president's second consecutive term. There's something to look at from the Michigan lawsuit. Okay, state of Michigan, and there's the timestamp, and there's the percentage for Trump, percentage for Biden, and then look at this, TV. I'm going to call that total votes, 1925865.66. Have you ever voted a .66? Mr. Ramsland describes how the RCV algorithm can be implemented and the significance of the use of fractional vote counts with decimal places rather than whole numbers. Then you hop down here and you'll see this graph. Doesn't that look real familiar? Remember we talked about Dr. Shiva and his work? Many people have spotted these anomalies, and it's not a paper trail, it's a cyber trail. That's out there. Folks, the theme today is reality versus media fantasy, and here is reality. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and the good guys slammed the lid down, and their hand is still stuck in that cookie jar, and they cannot escape. Dominion can no-show the state of Pennsylvania and lawyer up. It's not stopping the state of Pennsylvania. Georgia, they're not going to be able to perpetrate their hoax and their lie, and neither are they going to be able to do that in Michigan. I'm going to tell a quick story. I have actually worked 2 elections as a poll worker, working for the Board of Elections 2 times. That was back when I lived in Bowling Green, Ohio. I believe the year was 1992. One was a spring, kind of a primary, not very exciting, but in the fall was the night that Bill Clinton was elected. That was not a lot of fun. But here's what I can tell you just from having done that. All the stuff that I'm reading about in these lawsuits, you don't see this kind of stuff. These lawsuits are not about, there was a sneaky guy over in the corner and I wasn't sure what he was doing. No, this is flagrant, egregious, documented stuff that people are willing to go into court and put their hand on a Bible and swear, and there is tons of it. Now, before we get to the 10 predictions, I want to show you an article that talks about Mark Malloch Brown, who is CEO of Smartmatic, who is also right-hand guy to George Soros. And I want to show, this article is going to take you back to an election that was from his early days, and it happened in the Philippines, and they utilized a tactic. And I think when I read you his quote, you'll be able to put 2 and 2 together. Let's do that right now. Lord Malloch Brown, this is the SGT report. Smartmatic lied. Lord Malloch Brown admitted to a license agreement between Smartmatic and Dominion. Just want to read this. Smartmatic, a UK-based company, is a George Soros-linked company that has provided voting technology in 16 states, including the battleground states. It says the chairman of Smartmatic is Lord Malloch Brown, who sits in the British House of Lords. Now we're going to this article, and this is from FRNI, but here's what matters. It's this quote. This is Malloch Brown. An outstanding accomplishment during the Corey campaign was to produce an exit poll that indicated that she had won. It landed on the front page of the Inquirer and had a profound impact, as it planted the idea that Aquino had won over Marcos, and Marcos did not fully recover after that. It was a very exciting experience to watch. Okay, so the purpose of showing you that was not to go into a whole lot of detail about Malloch Brown, which we've done previously. It's rather to illustrate a technique that these creeps have developed and perfected, unfortunately, over the years, and that is the technique of using exit polls to create a story that indicates a winner. That's what they did with Corazon Aquino back in the 80s in the Philippines. And that is what they attempted and have been attempting and are still attempting to do here in the United States. Trace it back. I watched the election returns on Fox News, and I watched as Chris Steyerholtz gets trotted out from the control room to call the state of Virginia when there was like 4% of the vote in. It was a really small amount. Yet, Florida, that was obviously going for President Trump, they wouldn't call it until there was 97% of the vote in because they were basically shamed into it. And I didn't realize, I learned from the Daily Wire that when they prematurely called the state of Arizona, the polls weren't even closed. I don't know every time zone and when they close in every state, but I want you to understand that that's exactly what they've attempted to do here in the United States, is project this image. The race hasn't been called, y'all. I don't care what AP says, Google says, Rip Van Dorsey says, Communist News Network says. I don't care what they say. It hasn't been called. The theme of this episode is reality. The reality is the presidential election has not been called. And reality is Georgia's going for Trump. Pennsylvania's going for Trump. Michigan's going for Trump. Somebody sent me a message about Nevada. I haven't had a chance to look into it. Folks, President Trump is going to be sworn in on January 20, 2021. And if any of these things go to the Supreme Court, well, actually, they might not have to, because President Trump allocated the Supreme Court justices over the various districts. I'll give them to you off the top of my head. I think if I get them wrong, it's just I put the wrong person in the right place. But the 5 conservative justices are in the right place. I believe that's ACB over Michigan. It's over Wisconsin. Kavanaugh is over Michigan. Alito is over Pennsylvania. And the Honorable Clarence Thomas is over the state of Georgia. Folks, we got this. It's under control. And by the way, the Supreme Court just the other day slapped that crazy governor in New York in the face and said, no, you can't discriminate against the churches. And if you wanted any indication of how this court is lining up, the 5 literalists, the 5 constitutional justices weighed in properly, and the traitor John Roberts sided with the Marxist. So, folks, we have got this. Now, that is reality. That is reality. Don't buy this premature spin. They're working awful hard, but that is reality. So now you are able to move from hope so to know so. I hope now you know so. Okay, so it's time for the 10 predictions. And these 10 predictions are predicated upon 2 things. And they are the same 2 things that I listed as needed to be in place for this election to be properly called. And they are, number 1, the remnant is praying. And number 2, the patriots are acting. Both of those things are happening, and they need to continue to happen. And if they do, I believe you will see these 10 things. Here we go. Number 1, I believe the groundwork is going to be laid for Roe v. Wade to be overturned. That's right, overturned. This nation is going to come to grips with the sin of killing 60 million unborn souls since Roe v. Wade was enacted. We are no longer going to tolerate the eugenics origins, the racial origins that target unborn children and specifically target minority communities. Roe v. Wade's going to be overturned. Before that happens, we are going to defund Planned Parenthood as far as taxpayer dollars are concerned. We are no longer going to fund this evil, demonic organization. Number 3, we are going to finish completely severing all ties with the corrupt World Health Organization. That's kind of happened, but it's not finished. That's going to be finished. We're going to completely sever ties with the World Health Organization. In a somewhat similar manner, I'm not saying that we're going to sever all ties with the UN, but our role with the UN is going to be very, very different. We're going to tolerate them, but it's going to be different. Number 5, and this is huge, I believe we are going to see a breakup, shake-up, and almost complete dismantling of the CIA. And in a similar manner, a house cleaning from top to bottom is going to take place at the corrupt FBI. Number 7, antitrust action, and this is going to take involvement with the next election and the next round of electing members to the House of Representatives. But antitrust action is going to take place against Google, Rip Van Dorsey, and Farcebook. And that Section 230 is going to be turned on its head. Free speech is going to win the day. Number 8, the wall on our southern border is going to be completed. And 9, I believe that massive, and I mean massive, prosecutions are going to take place. I know that Durham seems to be taking his own sweet time, and there are numerous situations where special counsels need to be called, but I actually believe that massive prosecutions are going to take place, and you're going to see elected officials, governors, mayors prosecuted. I believe that you're going to see a large number of entrenched bureaucrats prosecuted. I believe you're going to see some prosecutions take place within the media. I believe that. And finally, and most importantly, I believe, and it's not because President Trump is reelected, it's because of the reasons that allowed President Trump to be reelected. I believe that a great awakening is coming to the United States of America. I believe that a massive revival is about to sweep this nation. The fire of God is about to be unleashed, and that's a scary thing to behold and a wonderful thing to behold. And I believe that revival is going to sweep across our nation, and it's going to be exported around the world. There you are. I said it. I believe it. It's not what the mainstream media is telling you, but that's what I believe. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the notifications bell. I'm going to take Dan Bongino's advice, and he didn't tell this to me personally. He told it to the whole world. I'm not on speaking acquaintances with Dan Bongino, but he said, hey, post it on Parler and Rumble first. And so that's what we're going to do. At Ohio for Freedom. Ohio for Freedom on YouTube. Facebook, we're going to continue to tolerate for at least a little bit longer. I am on MeWe. Don't really do much with BitChute. But if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you hate this video, especially, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio. And God bless the United States of America.